In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
7, 8, 9, 10. This podcast goes to 11. And welcome back to another edition of In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie. Thank you for listening. If you are watching on YouTube, you immediately see who I'm with today. I'm very excited. The first time I've been able to interview on In the Trenches a fellow band member. And would you welcome to the show Nita Strauss?
I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm the first one.
Well, it's a couple firsts for a lot of reasons, because today we're trying it with the new 360 camera. So if you're watching it on 360, you get to see exactly what pretty much our hotel rooms look like.
Totally.
Is it, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say this hotel room is?
This one's nice, but it's an overall nice. So not just the room, but it's like a good gym, good location. Like,
I think we're on a level 8.
Yeah.
It would be an 8.
Solid number 8. Doesn't quite go to 11, but it works.
Well,
if you're watching this in 3D, now you know it worked.
It does work. If it didn't, then you're watching it on regular GoPro. And Nita has been educating me so much on social media, because if you know anything about Nita Strauss, you know that she is the queen of all media.
I'm on the Instagram.
Oh, man, you have inspired me so much, because when we first started playing together, way back in, I think it was 2014.
This is my 6th year.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Time does go quickly.
It's not. It's wild. Nuts and wild.
Well,
mild.
You had a following when you first joined the band, but since then it has really, really exploded. And I think you've been amazing at catapulting and riding that wave of success. So
Thank you.
It's inspiring. No doubt. And I mean, I want to go way back first to start things off. Nita Strauss. Me growing up, I had my guitar heroes. For you, there wasn't a lot of female guitar heroes, so I assume your guitar heroes were all male, or maybe were they a combination of both?
No, it was all dudes, totally. Yeah. And it wasn't until way later on in my life, like I had already been touring and been seasoned and like, you know, kind of gotten it together, that I started finding out about these amazing female guitar players. Because when I first started playing guitar, there was nobody really at the forefront doing it. And it's a little different for me because, you know, when I started playing guitar, it was Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and stuff like that's what was big. And no one was doing guitar solos. And I saw the movie Crossroads, and that's how I got into like shredding guitar, and Steve Vai and Satriani, Yngwie Malmsteen, Marty Friedman, that kind of stuff. And there weren't any girls in the mainstream doing it, except kind of the Great Cat, who was like she was the only one that was on
Yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of known, and maybe you were a little bit young, but at that time, but then Michael Jackson's guitar player, Jennifer
Batten, of course,
had sort of made her mark, but that had been a couple years, right?
Yeah, that was, I feel like 91 or 92, you know, I was 4. You know, I think when she played the Super Bowl, and it wasn't until way later, like I was must 16 or 17, and I saw a video on YouTube of her playing the Super Bowl, and that was like my big aha moment of like, oh, she's hot, blonde hair everywhere, shredding like crazy, playing these incredible licks, and I was like, there's somebody doing it, and it was like so encouraging and cool. And then I found out way later about Phantom Blue and Michelle Meldrum and like these incredible female players that I just didn't even know existed because no one was pushing them.
Right. But the thing, I always talk about imagining your reality. You definitely imagined your reality, because you've gone on to play so many of the national anthems. And
totally. I've done the AFL, the Arena Football League.
Yes.
I've done NFL now with the Rams.
Right.
And then, you know, different festivals and stuff, the national anthem.
So you're getting quite good at the national anthem.
The national anthem's like my jam, for sure.
Doesn't this freak you out still, though? Because I've never played a national anthem.
Have you not?
Not in any sort of big sort of setting like you have multiple times. Do you ever get that feeling like, am I going to hit that right note?
Totally. But the great thing about doing a guitar is you don't have to worry about that high note. Like it's there, you know.
That is true. When you sing it, you always find that like, people they have to start real low because because it does go up so many octaves. But with guitar, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I can hit any note. And then I did America the Beautiful for the Rams. Actually, I've never played the national anthem in an NFL game. I did America the Beautiful once for the salute service, and then I played played the Sunday Night Football theme, the Carrie Underwood kind of Joan Jett thing that they do,
Yeah.
waiting all day for Sunday night. I did that. And so that's been cool because the NFL games like haven't been that high pressure moment of the anthem.
Okay.
So I still have not
It'll happen.
experienced.
That'll
yeah,
happen,
I
no
hope.
doubt. But you've had to learn a bunch of other types of songs. And
Yeah.
anytime you get in front of that amount of people and it's just you with a guitar.
Yeah.
You know, what was the Rocklahoma thing that you did a few years
Yeah,
ago?
that WrestleMania was another one.
Oh, that was
you know.
huge. Yeah.
You always get in this situation where it's, you know, I remember particularly WrestleMania because it was so far outside of music. It's not music fans there, it's wrestling fans. And I remember walking down, you know, to the Superdome where the Saints play, walking down the ramp, and they're like, okay, Nita, stand here. And then I have this picture, I'll send it to you, to include in the show notes or something, that's like 17 cameras around me and, you know, 90,000 people, and I'm just standing there in the dark waiting for someone to point at me, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
That's-
how did I get here?
That's kind of what I think that preparation pays off.
In that moment, that silent
Yeah.
moment. Totally.
I think that's something that a lot of people that do play guitar and they ask those questions when you do clinics, and when I do clinics, they say, well, how do I get to that point of being a professional musician? There's like a lot of preparation involved for moments
Yes.
exactly like that, because I think a lot of the things fly out the window when all of a sudden there's a bunch of people in your face.
1,000%. Yeah. Everything that you thought, everything you ever talked about, every meditation and like all these calming things, like it's all gone in that moment. You just have to realize, you take a deep breath and you trust your muscle memory. And in that moment, something really put me at ease, which I know you'll be able to relate to. Somebody, I have no idea who, out in the crowd yelled, "Let's go, Nita!" And I didn't even know anybody there knew who I was. Like, no one was there to see me. I wasn't announced. Like, I was just there to play somebody's entrance. And the fact that, like, somebody was there and gave me, like, a little bit of a boost was like,
Absolutely.
okay, this is what we do. Like, calm me down, and it was super fun.
You have no idea how important you out there listening,
Yes.
that your support is to all of us. So, you know, whether it's
Absolutely.
the Alice Cooper Band or any of the other projects that we've ever been associated with. And I'm going to get on to the projects that you have been associated with up until your most recent solo album, and you're making another one. But I want to, again, go a little bit back. As far as the first bands, when you joined up, you were playing with the Iron Maidens.
Yeah.
And you did have a following. I remember your social media numbers, even at that point, were like really big. Was that because you were an all-female band playing Iron Maiden songs, or how were you guys promoting and getting the numbers that you were? Because there's
Right.
a lot of cover bands out there.
yeah. Yeah, so the Maidens have been around forever. Like, I had no part
It's like
in starting.
2001, right?
2001, exactly.
Yeah.
I started playing with them on their 10-year anniversary in 2011. So I had no hand in building them up. Like, they were already a thing. I think they were already at 1 million Facebook likes, you know, before I even started
Okay, so
playing
you
with them.
kind of joined a nice
joined a good machine.
rolling train.
Yeah, and being, you know, spending so much time in LA, like, you know what a big deal they were then. Like, posters all over the place, like every rock club, every tattoo place, every freaking bathroom of the rainbow. It's like the Iron Maidens are playing at Palladino's.
Yeah.
You know, really good at like not just social media marketing, but like street marketing, getting out there, passing out flyers, like real word of mouth.
I wonder, do you think that still plays a role with up and coming bands?
Yes, 1,000%. And I'll tell you how I know. I did street team stuff for my album, like with my label Sumerian. We put an actual physical street team together, and we said, hey, whoever wants to be in the street team for the cities that I'm coming to on my solo tour, we will send you flyers and stickers, and you can just go to local shows in your area and pass them out. If you pass them out, we'll give you gas lists to the shows. Straight up old school street team. Like,
if you're not taking notes out there right now, I am. I can't get into my computer to write those notes down.
That's what you get for recording this like a professional. You guys should see. Well, you can see the setup, how pro this is right now. We got the 2 mics and the sparkly cable here.
The controlled chaos special
controlled
edition.
cable.
Controlled cable, exactly.
So the way I look at it is this: I can post on Instagram as many times as I want, and it'll reach a bigger number of people than someone standing outside a show. But it's not gonna, you know, someone standing outside a show at the same venue that I'm playing at a month later, and they're handing out flyers. If someone's willing to do this on their own time, you know, first of all, you have to get with people that are willing to help and spread the word and whatnot. But there's going to be so many people in that local scene that aren't going to see my Instagram post unless I pay to boost posts, which I have never done. They're not going to see my random post like, hey, Lexington, Kentucky, I'm going to be there in a month. Some,
Right.
Some random rock fans that might not know that I do solo touring or anything.
So that grassroots organic promotion is
Boots
still,
on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground.
It's
Well, hey,
important.
that's what I think we're all doing. Both of us have been lucky enough to ride the coattails
Yes.
of success with an established guy like Alice Cooper. But we, like both of us, we've also done our solo stuff.
Exactly.
And you've done a instrumental album, which has been instrumental in so cheesy.
I love it.
But it's been very instrumental in the next progression of your career because that was Controlled Chaos. And I think the way you went about doing it with the Kickstarter campaign that was hugely successful. I think it was like 2 hours that you reached your goal that you needed to do.
It was 2 hours, yeah.
And then it kind of went 8 times over, and it really boosted your name, your presence. I think even when the record came out, you didn't just debut on the rock charts or the or the heavy metal charts or the instrumental charts,
Exactly.
if there even is one. You actually debuted on the top 100 at what number?
We debuted on the new releases. We were the number 7 in rock. We were behind Queen.
Yeah.
And, which is crazy.
Which we will be soon again.
Yeah, or in front of Queen.
Yeah.
We debuted. It was I have to look back at the chart positions, but I think it was like number 2 in new releases that week, and number 7 on the iTunes rock chart. And
so that is a huge success story that I don't think gets talked about enough as far as the it's an instrumental album.
Yeah.
And that already you're putting yourself a little bit behind the 8 ball because
Big time.
People like vocals.
People don't know what to do with an album that's 1 long guitar solo or like 10 long guitar solos.
Well, they obviously did something. They bought it, and that's a great thing. And so much so that you're working on a new one now. In fact, the reason why I pulled you out of your room is you were writing today. Was that stuff for the new album?
It is, yeah. It's so great to just be able to work and record wherever you are in the world. Of course, the drawback is you're limited, with my guitars to whatever tuning that guitar is in.
Yeah.
So I just sent. I've got my old Feed My Frankenstein guitar, so it's in drop C sharp. So this new song is in drop C sharp. I sent it to my keyboard player right before I came over here, and I said, I'm really sorry.
Slave to the tuning.
No, big time. Because, do I really want to go in with an Allen key and change
Is that with the Floyd Rose and all that stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah.
With my double locking bridge, you're you can change it, but it's a pain.
It still takes time. Yeah, I know. Unless you have one of Tommy's fancy little bridge things with that guitar never goes out of tune. We played
but
a
it's
gig
still in that tuning.
It is in that tuning.
And
you know what?
can't
You're
do the
exactly
whammy bar.
right. It is in the tune.
And you can't bend in it, right? You can't bend the strings.
It's a challenging process, I guess you could say. Yeah.
I like my guitar to challenge me. I like to challenge my guitar.
There you go. That's the right
How
attitude.
was your clinic? I know I want to hear about
You're
your
talking to
clinic.
me?
Yeah,
Oh.
I do want to hear because people on here probably get to hear about a lot of your guests and not as much about you. So how was your clinic?
Well, yeah, I did. For those of you listening, I did a guitar clinic last night before a Goon Squad show. And if you don't know who the Goon Squad is, that's Glenn Sobel, Tommy
Glenn
Henderson.
Sobel's solo project.
Well, he does get to solo a lot in it, and Chuck Garrick. So it's the guys of Alice Cooper, I guess you could say. And it was weird. A guitar clinic at a rock club before a rock show.
Sure, yeah.
Totally impressed though.
Was it great?
You know what? We were talking about it because you do a lot of clinics.
Right.
I've done a lot of clinics for Gibson. This sort of clinic was more about lifestyle, a little bit more about the inspiration.
Yeah.
The do's, the don'ts, the never do's sort of rock and roll.
What's your never do?
Try not to show up late.
That's mine too. That's what I was going to
Really?
say. That's mine too every time.
Punctuality. I mean, it's such a simple thing.
Yep.
But oddly enough, overlooked.
That's mine too.
Yeah.
Every time. Do
Yeah.
not ever show up late. I even said this in my last clinic. They're like, what if you're running late? I said, call them, tell them your car broke down, you have to reschedule.
Yeah.
It's better to not show up at all than show up super late.
And one of the things I tell people in the clinic as well is I say, you know what? You have to be a good musician. That's a given. There's there's no two ways about it because everyone that you're going to go up against the gig with is going to be a good musician. but you have to learn how to also hang with people.
Yep.
And it's the hang, and it's being able to deal with different personalities that's
Yep.
going to keep you the gig.
Hear that, Glenn?
The flash might get you the gig, you know, with that thing
Yeah.
that you have, you know. You were Hurricane when you came in. I was Roxy when I came
yeah.
into the Alice Cooper camp. So whatever that flash was got us the gig. But I think keeping the gig is preparation, showing up on time. And, you know, I give Tommy Hendrickson, our third guitar player. If we had another microphone, I'd probably bring him in here on this podcast, because maybe we'll just do another one with the three of us at one point.
That'd be great. Yeah.
But I think that's one thing about us being a 3 guitar player band, is we know what to play for each other.
Oh yeah, we are like 3 parts, or like a very symbiotic trio of guitar players. What's funny, I talk about this a lot in my clinics, is that when people say, well, how do you guys divide up the parts? And I go, we really don't. Like, we don't even really have a conversation about it.
I was asked the same question last night at my clinic, and you kind of just said, you just kind of know.
You just kind of know. Like, if it's something that sounds like this, I'm probably going to play it. If it's something that sounds like that, you're probably going to play it. Tommy holds down the rhythms for the most part. There's a couple solos that he hops in on.
Yeah,
but
he gets on his solos there.
Yeah, and his solos are amazing. Like, when he gets in, he's probably the most solid soloer of the 3 of us, because he doesn't really step outside. Like, he stays in his lane.
He listens to the record and learns it exactly the way
like
they
note
did
for
it.
note for note. He doesn't really experiment. Like, Tommy is so solid, and like, when I say predictable, I mean really good predictable. Like, Tommy will give an A show every single night.
Yeah.
Well, as we all do, but like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I listen to the solo. I try to get the vibe of the solo, but then we try to put our own little twist in it.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that's what complements the entire song. I always say you shouldn't make your guitar solos sound just like scales. Your guitar solos should sound a little bit more like stories.
Exactly. The way that I explain it is that the song is one long story, and the guitar solo is the guitar player's chapter of the story. So it should always tell that same story, but from the guitar's perspective.
I have a lot of respect for you doing an instrumental album, because I don't know if I could tell that long of a story.
You know what's funny? I'm writing this song right now, right? And my upcoming album, everything has a story. Like, the Controlled Chaos had a story. This album has a story. And as I'm writing it now, this song is, I'm in a pretty good mood lately. I'm pretty happy with, the way things are going. And there's a lot of pressure on me. So I'm writing, sort of from that standpoint of, like, there's a lot of momentum, but a lot of pressure. Yeah. And I'm writing this song, and I've got this cool verse, and I've got this cool pre-chorus, and I've got this cool chorus. And, like, right before I came over to your room, I was like, I wish I could just have a singer, and then I'd be done with this song. Now I got to come up with all these notes to go over these other cool notes. But you're leaving the door open
for a singer to come in, because honestly, you can do another instrumental album, and then who knows what the future is for that, I do
have one guest singer lined up for this one. There's going to be at least one song with a singer, so I'm pretty excited about that.
You keeping that under wraps for right now?
For right now, yes. I'll tell you when we're off the air.
No, that's cool.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I do have one singer that's going to hop in and do a song that I'm pretty excited about.
Cool. I'm going to talk a little geek stuff with
yes,
equipment and
that's
stuff.
My favorite.
Because, we are both Marshall amp players.
Hell yeah.
And our choice of guitars is different, but our amps are Marshall. And I'm a JCM 800, so I'm a little bit old school, but you're a little bit more of the new school.
Yeah, the JVM, the Satriani head is my weapon of choice. And I think it's so cool that you, me, and Tommy, like, you couldn't find 3 more different guitar players if you go into freaking NAMM. There's no more 3 different guitar players than the 3 of us, but we're all using Marshalls. The tone is like very different, but it all meshes really, really well together.
And even if there's any sort of, like I said, I have nothing against modeling amps, and let's be honest, on every single album you'll hear a mixture of everything.
Oh
right?
Yeah, definitely.
But even with the modeling amps, they're Marshall sounds.
Oh yeah, you're still modeling a JVM or a JSX or freaking Friedman or whatever it is. Right. You're still grabbing those sounds.
You are the first Ibanez Signature Series female.
Yes.
Which is a big feat.
I still can't believe I get to say that sentence about myself.
When did the Jiva first come out, and what has changed over the years with it?
So the Jiva came out at NAMM of 2018. So that was the first iteration of Jiva 2 years ago. And basically that was the guitar that I've been designing in my head since I started playing the guitar. And you know how guitar players, we get a new guitar and you go, oh, it's so perfect, except I just had to swap the bridge pickup, or it would be so perfect if it had a maple neck, or if it had this finish, or whatever. So the Jiva was that guitar for me. It was like kind of my what if guitar all rolled into one. And so we put it out. The response was incredible. I designed a guitar that I thought was not just good for me, but something that could be really universally loved. Something that you can play blues. You can play. There's a guy on YouTube that plays surf on it, like, all different. And of course, a great shred guitar, rock guitar. So
was there a shape that you had? Like, I always say you play the same guitar that your guitar heroes played.
Right.
So, like for me, I like to play a lot of different Gibsons, but
Sure.
and I actually am playing a Strat on this tour as well. But, my go-to is a Les Paul, but,
Right.
because most of my guitar heroes played Les Pauls. Was your shape for your Jiva sort of inspired from one of your guitar heroes?
It isn't really. The one that I played for a long time was the RGs, because Steve Vai's Gem is like very similar to an RG, and John Petrucci, Marty Friedman, a lot of my heroes played RGs.
Got it.
But so actually Bob Ezrin, when I first started playing with Alice's band, Ezrin hated the RGs. He hated them so much. He goes, what's wrong with the Les Paul? Why can't you play something more classic? And I went to my Ibanez guys and I was like, look, can you give me something like a little softer looking, so it's not so pointy and so red, like
round the edges.
Yeah, round the edges off. And so they go, we've got these beautiful S series, like this amber burst, kind of like tiger eye looking S series. And I started playing the S series on that first Alice Cooper tour, the Motley Crue tour, and I just fell in love with it. It weighs much less. So like the Jiva weighs about 6.5 pounds. So it's way easy on your shoulder.
Okay.
The balance is amazing. You guys have probably seen the video of me on YouTube. On all my clinics, I hold the Jiva at the neck joint, and it just balances perfectly. Like, you don't even need to put your hands on it.
Yeah.
The balance is everything, because you get a guitar that's body heavy or neck heavy, and you're always fighting with it, like Tommy in that bridge. You're just always like wrestling with it.
Yeah, I mean, the classic example is a Gibson Thunderbird bass, because
Sure.
it sounds so damn great. But you know what? And that's all I think Chuck Garrick is playing on this tour now is Thunderbird basses.
I think so.
But let me tell you, that headstock weighs more than Chuck Garrick.
Exactly, Chuck and his abs.
So another thing that is custom besides the Jiva is the pickups that you have, right?
Right.
Is that from DiMarzio?
DiMarzio signature pickups, yeah. So we did a signature neck and bridge, and I didn't do a signature single coil for the middle, just because I feel like the DiMarzio True Velvet is so perfect on its own. I could have made more money by doing a signature, like a triple set, but I didn't think I could improve on it, and I didn't just want to change something for the sake of making a couple bucks off it, so I left it. It's a True Velvet. And then
you should just put a smoke bomb sort of
it's like
slot
a
in there.
hurricane bomb.
Yeah, like a little whirlwind comes up
like,
or something.
It would be like the really tiny version of the Ace Frehley smoker. Like,
Exactly, a single coil.
But yeah, this is called the
Little
Pandemonium. Yeah, the Pandemonium pickups are my signature pickups, and then the two new Jivas that came out this year.
Wait, Pandemonium is the name of the actual pickup
Of the pickup,
set.
yeah.
Okay. Of both the neck and the bridge?
Yeah, the Pandemonium neck and bridge.
Okay.
They're called the Pandemoniums.
So you got Controlled Chaos, you got Pandemonium. I know you
there's two
pretty
new
well.
Jivas,
You're a
actually.
pretty calm person. You're pretty reserved. She goes to her room, like she doesn't go out after the show, out all night. So this chaos and pandemonium, maybe that's the alter ego is coming out.
I think so. I think over the years I've gotten, as you know, a lot more reserved. But I think
it's a little retrospective, maybe.
Exactly,
the pickup is more of
throwback.
a little throwback from the early days.
But I still have all that stuff going on in my head, even though I've kind of chilled out a lot in like personality, I still have all those emotions and all that stuff, all these things swirling around in my head. And I think the way that I write on my album and the way that I play on stage with Alice, that's kind of like my outlet.
Yeah.
It's almost like the way that Alice has the alter
take all
ego.
that energy and or all those things that are going inside your head, you let them out on stage. It is your therapy.
Exactly.
That's another thing we say
is.
in our clinics. I think I say
Absolutely.
that guitar playing is therapy.
The best therapy in the world. The best and the cheapest. Unless you start buying guitars.
But you also manifest it in you have a very strong workout ethic.
Right.
You have you have a workout course that you do. What's
Body shred.
The body shred.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm still hooked on my Jillian Michaels 30-day shred. It's
So
about
good.
it's about a 2000 DVD that I picked up at Target, and like I think 12 years later, I'm still, at least I'm doing it.
You're doing it, though. You're doing something to
day.
get moving. So the whole premise of Body Shred is do something that gets you moving. So I have partnerships with different companies. I've partnerships with like DDP Yoga and like different companies that aren't my workout. But the main thing is just getting people moving. And there is a workout, like if people want to follow it exactly, they can. And I always say, like, if you want to get like the best results, there's a nutrition program and a workout, and like follow it as much as you can. But it's not required. The whole idea behind Body Shred was, when I first started working out, when I got sober and started really getting into the gym, working out, I started following all these fitness Instagrams and stuff because I'm a millennial. That's what you do. You follow Instagram. Yeah, of course. And
you're teaching me all that stuff. Trust me.
It's good to have a millennial around.
I'm doing a damn podcast, of course.
Yeah, you are.
I'm jumping on.
That's
what
I got to do next. So I started following all these Instagram pages, and it was so intimidating. And I would see, these girls in these matching pastel pink workout sets, and these really like ripped, clean cut guys, and, listening to music that I hated, and looking just like they were working out and not even sweating. And I was just like, I can't relate to this at all. This whole world is so intimidating. Like, I don't get it. And the more I started working out, the more I was like, this is so cool. I wish that more people in our community would embrace this lifestyle, because you can still be rock and roll as fuck and be healthy.
Absolutely.
Like take good care of yourself and live longer and give a better performance on stage. Like there's nothing uncool about being healthy.
No, it's almost the most rebellious thing in rock and roll now is to actually take care of yourself.
Exactly. Look at Six out there, like, working out, losing weight, posting his Fitbit stats and stuff on his Instagram. Like, yeah. I think it's awesome. So I created Body Shred as sort of a place for our community to go and say, look, here's a bunch of like-minded people from all over the world. So participating this time, we have almost 800 people from 5 different continents, all like,
incredible.
Just getting down. We have a Facebook group. People are in there posting what their workout is, posting what they're listening to, like exchanging playlists on Spotify, saying like, hey guys, I made this quinoa salad. If anybody wants to try it, here's the recipe. Like, just a bunch of rockers getting in shape together. And it's fun, and people's lives are changing. People are getting off high blood pressure medicine and cholesterol, even getting off antidepressants, which is huge. Getting.
You're seeing it work. Yeah.
It's incredible, the results that we've seen just from people having a community and having some support.
Great. Well, I'm curious to hear what this new record sounds like, but when do you have plans for its release? Do you have a game plan, or is that under wraps as well?
Oh no, it's really just about finding the time at this point. My plan was to finish the majority of the recording in January, but then January happened.
Yes.
So,
yes. These months do happen.
It does happen. So right now the plan is to do as much as I can out here on the road. We're going into a few very busy days, so I'm not going to have that much time to work. But I'm going to do as much as I can when we get back in March, and then do as much as I can on the road. And I record literally the majority of the final guitars in my hotel room here. And I reamp. So
kind of what I did with Imagine Your Reality. There's a lot of the vocals that I put down, at least the tracks that Tommy produced. We recorded them in some sort of, Marriott in some Midwestern town. So
yeah, exactly.
I love that you have the fact that we have the technology now to do that.
It's insane. My interface is about the size of this one here. It's a Universal Audio Aero. It gets a perfect, sharp, crisp DI signal. I record all the guitars and bass DI. My keyboard player can work remotely. She's in LA. The only thing we record in a full studio is drums when Josh does the drum tracks, and then we send it off for mix and master. So I'll do the majority of the recording out here on the road. Definitely aiming for 2020 release. Okay. And I've got some touring set up to support that album already for the summer and fall this year.
So in between Alice touring, we're doing our things.
Oh yeah.
And whatever lineup things happen, it's going to be we're playing together with Alice.
Oh yeah, totally.
I think that Chuck might have a gig or two, a Beasto gig here and there.
Chuck is doing
might
Beasto,
conflict,
yeah.
But maybe not. So whatever. I mean, that this band is pretty much the most consistent band that Alice has had since since the original band.
For a long time,
and I think we've all sort of made this sort of. I don't know if it's an unsaid agreement, but we've kind of said we're going to ride this out to the sunset because
as long as we can, for sure.
And Alice just keeps on going, so
he keeps on giving us work.
Well, as long as he keeps on giving 110% on stage,
so will we.
He's inspiring us. So will we.
We have to keep up with him. It really is, and it's cool doing solo touring and taking what I've learned from this band to that. you know, to that level, because, you know, we might have a very small tour, you know, we have nothing even close to the budget or the numbers that the Alice tour does, but we run our tour just like this. And, you know, we take good care of everybody. We respect everybody. You know, I take everybody out to dinner at the end of the tour, like little things that Alice does for us. I try to carry over into that tour.
Very cool. That's very cool. Lessons learned. I know that, you know, whether it's Planet X or whether I'm doing Los Angeles, or whether I'm doing Ryan Roxie solo stuff, any of those tours make me appreciate being in the Alice Cooper band and in this hotel room.
Oh my God,
so
you
much.
think?
Yeah.
Big time. I think it's important too to get people as involved as you can in what you're doing, because I think whether you're writing, whether you're touring, whether you're recording or anything, taking your audience on the journey with you is the most important thing that you can do. Whether it's social media, whether it's like something like Patreon. I just started a Patreon. We were talking about this, and that's where, you know, instead of posting all the stuff on social media, like, hey, I'm working on this, I'm doing this, like, I post on the Patreon, and that gives people that are interested in what I'm doing, like they want to get like little clips of the album and find out kind of details and stuff before it comes out. That's where I put all that stuff out.
Yeah, you actually have been very amazing, giving me a lot of great advice about the whole Patreon camp, and you put a lot of ideas in my head, and you've given me a lot of good suggestions.
You should do one.
No, it's all in the works. You know, it's all in the works as far as the, you know, guitar lesson series and all that stuff. But that's, you know, that's for another time right now. But we're talking about you, and not that people need to get to. They don't have to find you. You're pretty ubiquitous. You're omnipresent right now. But what is the? Is it nitastrauss.com? What's the social media of choice that you would say?
So I'm Hurricane Nita everywhere. I'm Hurricane Nita on Instagram, Twitter. I'm Hurricane Nita on Patreon. If anybody wants to come and check that out, check out the record and the snippets that I'm seeing, what I'm doing on there. And Facebook, I'm Nita Strauss, nitastrauss.com. And anybody that wants to know about Body Shred, if you just go to nitastrauss.com, click on Body Shred, you'll find all the info right there.
I'll bet you there's way more Nita Strauss fans listening than In the Trenches podcast fans right now.
Well, the cool thing is,
change that.
We're gonna the Nita Strauss fans are all Ryan Roxie fans by default.
One hand washes the other, both hands wash the feet. My buddy, my buddy Weeds used to say that.
I like that. I like that. And you're a great interviewer, by the way.
Well, thank you very much.
From being interviewed a
lot.
lot.
I appreciate you coming on. It's been. We'll see if this 360 camera works. We'll see if enough battery in the GoPro works, and then, well, we'll see again if we can all get on a podcast where it's the guitarist of Alice Cooper Band, and
we should do that.
We can just talk a little bit more about Alice stuff. But I've had a great time talking with just you about Nita Strauss stuff, and letting me share a little bit of my insights as well. Thank you very much for being a part of In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie. One more episode. For those of you that are listening on the iHeart or any of the Spotify links, you can always go check it out on YouTube and see the visual. So until next time, Nita Strauss, thank you very much. We'll see you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
In the Trenches. Enjoy the ride. Bye. Cool.
In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.